to this week's episode of the Gaming Walkthrough. Today, I'm joined by my brilliant co-presenters, Matt and Aaron. Matt and Aaron, how you doing? You all right?
Doing
I'm
well.
doing really well.
Good.
Yeah. I thought my voice.
I thought I'd get the introductions out straight away because I haven't been on here for weeks. I've missed you guys on this show, so I thought I'd get the introductions out straight away. But this week, we've got a cracking show for you. We're talking about the Fallout TV show first images. They've appeared in Vanity Fair over the last few days. We'll also be talking about Bethesda policing Starfield on Steam. We're talking about that. Also, we're talking about Game of the Year chat, so get ready for some spicy takes. And we'll also be talking about Matt being a Zelda maniac. All that and more on this week's show, but not before the trailer. Are you prepared to go public with your KD online or
No.
Everyone thinks he or she is the best football expert on the planet.
You see it in the back page of the Mirror, deal agreed.
I think the most important thing is just to have fun.
What? 310?
No, what button is it?
Well, hello.
We're ready to come for the W, yeah?
Ooh, 12.
Ooh, here we go.
If you can master second man press, you will defend 10 times better.
Today I'm going to be reviewing the PSVR 2 headset.
Hello and welcome back to the Mirror Game Walkthrough, the weekly gaming news show. I know we've already done the introductions, but Matt, Aaron, how's your week been? All right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to do work and look after a 2-year-old, so it's been a challenge. It's a aggressive start to the week, I'd say.
Thank God.
Challenges.
Thank God you bought a Nintendo Switch recently, then, Matt. Because out of all the consoles, when you're looking after kids, you can sneak in a PlayStation here or there.
Save the good
I
bits
do
for
try.
later.
I do try. To be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron, how's your week been? All right.
Yeah, it's been really good. We're currently in the post Black Friday, Cyber Monday come down, so
Yes.
we're just easing ourselves back into it. But
Yeah.
obviously, I can't believe that it's going to be December technically on Friday.
Yes.
So I'm kind of like, obviously, I'm still working, still excited about all the big games coming out, but I'm kind of like, I'm ready. I'm ready for Christmas to be here and for the chilling to begin.
Is your tree up and everything?
It's not, but it could be going up tomorrow. Very likely. I'll update you. Yeah.
Nice one. Yeah, make sure you keep me updated.
Will
Any
do.
Black Friday purchases, guys?
Well, I'll come straight out with it. I've purchased a new phone.
Ooh.
It is the Google Pixel 7a. So still a
Nice.
couple of models behind, but I was rocking the 4a before, and that was my one big Black Friday splurge, to be honest.
Nice.
I also picked up Immortals of Avium for 20 quid on PS5. But that might be going to my brother soon. So hopefully he's not watching the
Okay.
podcast right now for Christmas. We'll see. What about you
You
guys?
just spoiled the present. I can't believe you did.
Well, Josh, turn it off. Yeah. I'll mind wipe him.
Too late, Matt.
Well, I mean, mine was technically a Switch.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it on Black Friday, but I bought it during Black Friday
In
week.
advance. Oh.
so-
Yeah, I mean that
so
counts.
it's kind
yeah,
of
that counts.
yeah. And I got the deal.
Nice.
So-
Got the OLED as well, didn't you?
Same. Yeah.
Oh,
You've
Come
got
on now.
you've
Very
got
nice.
there's no point if you're gonna go in for something. There's no point doing the light version. You might as well.
If you're
You might
gonna
as
do
well
it,
get as many bells and whistles as you can humanly acquire.
absolutely. We'll be talking a lot more about Matt's Nintendo Switch a bit later on because I'm really excited to hear about his experience with it as a PC gamer. Well, PC converted, having recently been converted to PC, but you were PS5 before exclusively. So we'll be talking about that a bit later. But let's start with our first topic, which is the Fallout TV show. First images have appeared. This is courtesy of Vanity Fair, who ran this as an exclusive. Let's have a look at some of the images and just discuss with the team and see. I mean, what do you make of these images? Let's look at the first one. This is Ella Purnell emerging from the underground vault. Does this make you more excited? Does it make you? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Can I get like a, I don't know, kind of like an experience check on like how do we all feel in general about like Fallout, like as a series? Because I really enjoy 3.
Yes.
I think the others are just okay, but yeah.
I'm a big fan of Fallout, to be honest. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Fallout.
And
Personally.
I've tried to play one of them, but I didn't get on with it.
Didn't you try and play it on stream?
No. I think I just had it, and then but I couldn't.
I remember you rage quitting it though.
Oh, maybe I did. Yeah, maybe I did.
Weren't the bugs like biting you or something, and you couldn't work out?
And also like the sensitivity and all the like.
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
felt weird. Like it didn't feel like it didn't feel natural to play like in terms of mouse and keyboard and So, and I couldn't get I would look left and then I'd do like a 360 and I could every time I turned the sensitivity down all the way down to 0, it still was doing it. So it was like getting on my nerves after a while.
Yeah.
So I never really got into it, but with this TV show, I'm sort of looking forward to learning the story, hopefully somewhere close to what the games are.
Well, it's interesting because we look at here obviously the power suit with the Brotherhood of Steel and everything. It's interesting because Aaron will know, and I'm sure you'll know as well, Matt, that Fallout is sort of your own story. You can choose, you can decide what faction you want to choose. You can decide what sort of character you want to be. You've got a little bit of freedom in that way. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with the whole storyline really, and who they choose to go. But I will say that these power suits are looking pretty cool and pretty close to what they did, what they look like in the game. That also looks really cool. So this is Philly, an apparent junkyard that is actually a town of survivors in the remnants of greater Los Angeles who cobbled together their village from scrap. I
mean, it looks from the screenshots, it looks promising.
Yeah.
It doesn't look too...
It's Fallout 4, isn't it? It's based on it. It looks very Fallout 4, and it's got the ghoul as well.
It looks like an actual TV show. I just
look at that for makeup.
Yeah, like it doesn't have the appearance of like it's too colorful and like trying to get the blues and the yellows and like all of that like cartoony. Like it doesn't have that vibe to it. It looks like it has the ability to sort of be dark where it needs to be dark and and whatnot, just from these screenshots, but I don't know. I'm so like on the fence. I'm just like, I just can't wait to watch it, and I'm glad we don't have long to wait.
Yeah. I think is it April next year? I think it's
April next year,
early 2024, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've got Will in the chat. Hi, Will. Must have missed this. Who are making it? So this is Prime Video. It's Amazon. This is an Amazon show.
So and that's exciting because I actually subscribed to Amazon Prime, which is good. I just cancelled my Apple TV actually, and now I'm seeing everything about Slow Horses season 3 being really good, and I'm like, oh damn, I never actually checked that show out, but everyone says it was really good. I'll probably pick up the Blu-ray. But more importantly, on that image, or this one as well, there's the man himself.
Yeah.
That's Walt Goggins there, who's just like a great actor anyway. He was in The Hateful Eight. He does a lot of Western stuff actually.
Yeah.
Obviously he has his nose in real life, but like. It's so he's playing a ghoul there, but this show's actually being made by Jonathan Nolan, who was the mind behind. I wish I could just say the first couple of seasons of Westworld, but unfortunately, all of Westworld, because my God, did that show go off a cliff halfway through the second season? But the first one was so good.
Weird.
Yeah. There was the twist, wasn't there? Which obviously I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but there was the twist, and then you sort of
what door? Ooh.
Yeah, and then it sort of lost its way, and then
I think it's just suffered that typical like they've written the first season or the first couple of seasons and like overall like and they know what they want it to go, and they know what the main plot lines are, the main twists are, and the main overarching twist, and then when they finally get to it, but the show's super successful, and then the studio's like, here's millions and millions and millions of dollars to keep making it. It's kind of like I feel like that happened to Lost. I feel like that happened to a lot of like shows where it could have ended and just been like the most sensational 2-season show.
Game of Thrones, the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, exactly. But they run out of material, and now it's like all on their shoulders to write everything rather than what they've come to the table perfecting. So I think it just suffered that.
Yeah, he hasn't even finished Winds of Winter yet. It's been like 20 years. What is he doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't he say he's only like a couple of 100 pages in or something?
I don't think we're ever going to get it. I've
No.
lost that. But anyway, we go on to a different subject. But yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, it can't be a coincidence that you get a lot of Western vibes from this, considering
Yes.
like who's making it as well. Obviously, like I wouldn't describe Fallout as a Western, but everything we've heard about this show, it kind of does seem like, Ella Purnell's character leaves the vault. She's gone like a road trip of sorts, and she'll bump into all these different people. I think it's interesting that there's a significant actor. I think his name's Kyle MacLachlan. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Who is playing her dad, called the Overseer, and he's like the head of the vault that she like walks out of.
Yeah,
presumably towards the beginning.
A still of that as well, I think.
Yeah,
Where they're sat at a computer together.
Here.
Isn't that?
Oh yeah, that's probably him.
That
It's a
him?
bit
Yeah,
blurry
yeah.
on my side, but
Yeah.
but obviously Fallout 3, my favorite Fallout, and I would say like most people, like Elder Scrolls, you have Skyrim, Oblivion at a push. Fallout, you have Fallout 3. That's the go-to one.
Yeah.
And in that game, your father just disappears one day, played by Liam Neeson, and then your main goal is to go and find him. So I'm wondering if like it's going to be, obviously this is an original story with original characters because you play as a custom character in the game. I'm wondering if it's going to follow the basic bones of that plot.
Yeah.
Which is still like, it still leaves so much room for like wiggle room for different stories to be told, which I think would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. It says here, when a crisis forces Lucy to venture above on a rescue mission, she finds that the planet above remains a hellscape crawling with giant insects, abominations, and a human population who make the manners, morals, and hygiene of the gunslinging Old West look like Downton Abbey. I don't think
Hugh Bonneville in there.
I don't think there's much around the plot here, but there is bits from a certain Todd Howard.
Old Todd's been on, has he?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I wonder if he was wearing his jacket.
We'll get on to Todd Howard in a minute with our next topic, but yeah, he's obviously got involved with this as well. And he said, "Look, Fallout could be very dramatic and dark and post-apocalyptic, but you need to weave in a little bit of a wink. I think they threaded that needle really well on the TV show. Vault Boy not only appears in the show, but the imagery even gets an origin story.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's really interesting as well.
Like the pit boys that people wear and everything. We're going to see that.
I'm really interested to see how but I mean, they've not skirted on the costume budgets, have they? I mean, look at that.
Yeah, like, do we think is that like a real suit or is it like CGI'd in?
Looks real to me.
That looks pretty real. Like the lighting off the metal.
I've seen some set pictures where it was like, I think speculated
that looks a bit more CGI.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I mean. I doubt they would have made that many suits. I think that is going to be CGI, but maybe they've got like one or two rocking around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's probably true. Yeah.
And that there's a still image of like recruits for presumably the Brotherhood staring up at, I believe they're called vertibirds.
This one.
So that's the one, yeah. So like you were just talking about like, oh, we're going to get an origin story for like Vault Boy and everything like that. I think like this show's going to go quite deep into like how the world became the way it was. Yeah. And obviously Westworld, not to keep on bringing it back to that, but I don't think it's a coincidence. That was kind of like telling two parallel stories. Not that we knew it in the first season. I won't say anymore. But like, I wonder if we're going to constantly be jumping back and forth in this TV show. But
I'd say that's a strong possibility. We've got a friend of the show, Adam L, in the chat. Hi, Adam. We're just chatting about the Fallout TV show. Let us know if you're excited. We've got some first few images. Matt, sorry, were you going to say anything about that?
No, I was just agreeing with what Aaron was saying.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to find out like a little bit more about the whole universe and like delve into some of the detail. I think that's where, like, for people who are fans of the franchise, that's why I would watch it, to see something extra. Yeah. Although The Last of Us didn't really offer that much more new stuff, and I love that. So I don't know. It could go either way.
I think but The Last of Us offered a completely different perspective.
That's true.
Like, it wasn't new, but it was a different perspective. There was lots of parts told from different perspectives. So
they added a kiss as well.
That's what I kind of think led to that being successful. But I think the thing with this is, like, what I'm interested in is, are they going into it with the idea that they're doing that it could end up being a long running show. So they've
I would have thought
they've
so.
written something that will explain everything.
Mm.
And then move in. They already know that they're probably going to move into a season 2, or have they written like a limited series and then they're going to get lost after if it's really successful? It ends up getting lost to just like rushed writing.
Obviously, you'd hope that they've planned it out, and I would have hoped that Jonathan Nolan learned his lesson with the Westworld stuff. This is looking really good for a Prime show, but I will say, like, this is coming at an ideal time for both Bethesda and therefore, by de facto now, Xbox, not to bring it back to that, because the Xbox Halo TV show wasn't that well received, as far as I remember. It had a couple of good bits, but as soon as Master Chief takes his helmet off, you've lost.
It's lost.
You've
You've
misunderstood what Halo is. I'm sorry. I know the arguments about, well, we can't have a show. There's another show. It's called The Mandalorian, and they got on just fine with it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, so
He also took his helmet off though.
Yeah,
He
like
did.
once
He
or
did
twice.
a couple of times, and he also didn't show his rear end. I'll say that either. Like Master Chief did. Master Cheeks was trending on Twitter that week.
Yeah.
But basically, we're going to be talking about Starfield later. But Bethesda have just released Starfield. We know that their next game is Elder Scrolls 6, and that's likely to be 5 years away minimum. So I think if they can keep this show going for the next 4 or 5 years up until Elder Scrolls, that keeps Fallout in the discussion and in people's minds. Because I don't know who else would be making a Fallout game. Maybe Obsidian, if they wanted to like give it back to them. But no, this is looking really good. And like, I'm kind of like on video game adaptations, it's kind of like it still could go either way for me. Like The Last of Us is definitely the best we've had, but I've still got my issues because it started off so inventive, and then the last 3 episodes were just beat for beat the game, and that's the main problem I had. And because I'm not quite as invested in the Fallout stuff, like I'll watch this and just enjoy it for what it is.
Do you know what would be interesting? I mean, I don't know how well you know like Fallout lore.
Cool.
But I don't really know it at all. So again, I'm in a similar situation as to The Last of Us. So I'd never played the game before. I sort of had a loose understanding of it. So that meant that when you were experiencing the last few episodes of The Last of Us, I was just enjoying it, man, because I didn't know it was beat for beat the game or whatever. So
Matt, I can't wait for you to watch the first episode of The Last of Us Part 2 or the first 2 episodes. I don't know how they're going to do it. I cannot wait. I almost want to be in the room.
Have you
with
played Part 2, Matt? Have you played?
I've been staying away from it until the season comes out, and then I'll play it after.
Brilliant. Adam L says, I stand by my usual TV show take. If Matt is reviewing it in the walkthrough, I'll be excited no matter how bad it is. There you go, Matt.
Yes, Adam L.
Yeah, we will be dissecting the show
review
to the nth degree. Well, when I say we, I mean Matt will be dissecting this show to the nth degree.
Do you know what I would like to know? Because this is Prime, right? It's going straight streaming.
Yeah, exclusive.
Is it going to be week by week? Are they going to drop it all at once?
Oh, that's a good point.
We don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, I think the thing that I actually like what Apple do, which is the first 2 to 3 episodes and then once a week until the series finishes.
Okay.
And I think that that's good because it gets you in. It gets you in deep enough that you are invested, and then you get to sort of like have something to look forward to for like 6 or 7 episodes. They did it with, I can't remember what's the Mosquito Coast. Is it called
I've literally never heard of that show before in my life.
It's not game related, but I thought it was a great series. That's how they did it with that. They're doing it with Monarch now with the Godzilla spin-off
stuff.
And it just means that you get invested into the characters, and then you've got something to look forward to, and it's like, it's Friday or whatever.
That's like
that's
like the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have adopted that, but I think Apple were doing it before anyone else was doing it week by week. So I hope that they just drop a few. Yeah. I hope that they do a couple episodes and then like space it out. So we've got things to talk about, and like,
Yeah.
you know, have you seen that conversation of, have you seen the latest episode of this, if it's something everyone's excited about, and then you can talk about that episode. Or
basically, Todd, please release it week by week, so we've got a segment on our podcast every week to talk about it. All right, you'll get free
Think of the
airtime.
journos, man. You know, think of the
come on,
journos.
the last point I'll make, because I know we got some comments and some of the stuff moving on, is I hope that these are proper full-length TV episodes as well. Because the problem with streaming is it could be like one episode's 25 minutes, the other one's 44, and I'm like, I hate that. Hate it. So make it a full hour.
Yeah. We've got Adam first. Matt, I beg to watch part of the first few episodes of Last of Us 2. I would literally pay.
What, to be in the room when I watch it?
Oh, okay. There you go. I'm sure.
He's asking for a watch party.
Yeah,
I'm to stream Matt's reaction.
Matt can share his rate.
I mean, if we were allowed to stream it live, I'd watch it live.
Yeah, you could stream your camera as it goes out. And say, like, press start, Adam L, and we'll go.
Yeah.
Which is me
3,
reacting.
2, 1, go.
Reacting to it. I mean, like, it's possible. It's a possibility.
Adam, and that'd be a TikTok as well.
Yeah,
it's It's a possibility, Adam. We might try and figure out a way to do it so that people can just watch me watch it.
Oh, that's what Adam L meant. Matt, I beg to watch party the first few episodes of Last of Us 2. I would literally pay. There you go. So we can pay for a watch party. Lewis said, Last of Us found a great balance of pleasing the game audience and people who didn't know the storyline. I agree. Yeah, I thought that was a good balance. Aaron, do you agree?
I agree with what Lewis said. It was a shame because I thought for the first 4 or 5 episodes it was adding new stuff to the stuff we knew, and then the last 3 it was kind of like they didn't want to touch anything because it was so good. I guess
it was so good. It was so good.
But I feel like that's kind of important with game adaptations, especially as like there's parts of the story of the game where you shouldn't deviate, and then parts where you can.
I agree with you. But so at the end, spoilers for The Last of Us Part 1 and the end of the first
season.
Switch
off if you haven't watched it yet.
Like, we largely see it through Joel's perspective, right? Like him going through the building, killing all the people in there, and getting Ellie's body. I would have loved to have just seen plugging the fridges in. I would love to have, because that show did a good job at like showing us other people's perspectives. Like even the bad guy, I can't remember her name now, but you know, the one with the understudy. So in that episode, rather than just following Joel the whole time, I would have loved to have seen like Marlene's day as well, because that's something we didn't get in the game. And how Marlene got to where she got to. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm really excited for that. Can't wait to see it. I hope they, again, just agree with Matt. I hope they drop a new one every week so that we've got something to talk about and potentially watch party as well. But on Bethesda, shall we talk about our next topic then? Bethesda is responding to negative Starfield reviews on Steam. Should we have a look at them? Should we have a look at them?
Why not?
If we can.
So just for context, Bethesda's customer service are going through negative Starfield reviews and responding to them. So this is an example of a response. So this is via Juicehead on Twitter.
Yeah.
And their tone is a little bit like, oh, actually, it's not, though. What you're saying is actually wrong. While there may be loading screens in between fast traveling, just consider the amount of data for the expansive gameplay that is procedurally generated to load flawlessly in under 3 seconds. We believe that shortcoming will not hinder our players from getting lost in the world we created.
On the world's most powerful console, we need load screens.
So that's one example. We are sorry that you do not like landing on different planets and are finding many of them empty. Some of Starfield's planets are meant to be empty by design, but that's not boring. When the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there. They certainly weren't bored. That was a.
I nearly swore then.
That's a quote.
When you read that.
The intent of Starfield's exploration is to evoke a feeling of smallness in players and make you feel overwhelmed. You can continue to explore and find worlds that do have resources you need or hidden outposts to look through. Let's just have a look at one more, because this is hilarious. You can fly, you can shoot, you can mine, you can loot. Starfield's an RPG with hundreds of hours of quests to complete characters and maze, but there's quite a lot here, so I'll try and get through. There are so many layers to Starfield. You will find things you've never knew were possible after playing for hundreds of hours.
Right, we think this is from the customer support team, but are we absolutely sure that it isn't Todd Howard?
It says developer there.
Logging
So
into his
it's
phone.
from Bethesda, right?
Bethesda Kraken.
Yeah. You think it's Todd Howard going through it? He's got the login for the customer support, and he's like, guys.
I wouldn't put it past him. He does an awful lot of responding on Reddit
At 11 a.m.
He's
on a Monday,
you know.
Todd Howard is going, you know what I'm going to do, guys? Pass me the password to that support. I'm just going to have a look at some reviews. No, I promise you, I won't respond to any.
Listen, I'm not saying he is, but I'm not saying that it's impossible.
Yeah, this one I think was the most the one. Matt, what do you make of? That's not boring, and then the quote.
When astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there. Like, it's
who said that? Why is it?
It's designed to have like to be fun to play, and if it's not fun to play, you failed. And if you found it fun, great. But a lot of people did not find it fun. So
yeah.
Like that's on the developer. Like you
like
can't.
They're trying. Why are they trying to
gaslight
people?
me into thinking that it's my fault?
Yeah.
They're basically saying like you're not allowed to have an opinion. Do you know what I mean? I get that review bombing's a thing, and that there are some people out there that didn't like Starfield before they even laid hands on the controller. And had you know a bias going in or whatever. But like I feel like how detailed these responses are, whatever they were replying to, they probably had some semblance of. You know what they were talking about, these players, and their complaints were rather genuine. I don't know. I'm happy to be corrected on that, but like this is very strange for a developer trying to.
It's just like they don't want to admit that. Like, I don't know, because I don't want to say the game was like, you know, wasn't successful, because it was successful, but it's kind of like. I feel like it's just forgotten about in the zeitgeist. Like nobody's talking about it that much, apart from us
issue,
now.
I think. That's the issue. Yeah.
So I've been seeing those headlines as well, where it's like, oh, player numbers. Like there's more players on Skyrim, Steam, or whatever than there are like Starfield or whatever. And like just like wind the clock back like 5 or 6 years ago, this is a single player game. And you know what people do with single player games? They play them, they enjoy them, and then they move on. But now I feel like why are we judging this almost as if it's a live service game? Like there's not thousands of players playing it right now. It's a failure. And I'm like, well, not necessarily.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like it's not fair to say it wasn't successful. But a lot of people after playing the game now have said, it wasn't actually that good.
Including me.
Or like, do you know, it's like there were elements that were good, but it wasn't that good. It's not a contender for like, you know, in my eyes, it's not a contender for Game of the Year, for example. And that's,
one of my favorite.
I feel like they're just like hurt by that, and they're just trying to be like, no, actually, I think you'll find that.
Just before Aaron, just before you get onto your next point.
That's all right. Go on.
Adam L. Looks like when Trump was tweeting at 3 a.m. Absolutely. And also, Adam L. Matt, you just don't understand. It's not a game. It's a realistic space exploration simulator with added loading screens.
Do you think it's a realistic, like that thing about the moon? Do you think that when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, that there was a loading screen between? And then they were just on the moon. Like, okay, like you can't use that argument. It's a game. Like you can't compare, like what actually happened in the world versus what we made in a game. Like what like I can understand it if it's like gun recoil or like and that's how it actually works, and that's the whole point. We're trying to make a real like, but it's not. It's a space game. Like just it's fantasy.
Yeah.
So you can't then compare it to real life and be like, well, actually, I think you'll find that many planets don't have anything on them. Like, yeah, but it's a game. I want things to do. Like, what sort of response is that? It's so childish.
Yeah. Aaron, I know I interrupted you by
I was just gonna say, because like I think someone, I can't remember if it was you or Matt, brought up the point that like, oh, people are discovering that it's not as good as maybe they initially thought. I think it was Matt actually. And like one of my favorite, it happens, I would say, once or twice a week, where I see someone on my Twitter timeline say like, "Oh, guys, I'm not like Starfield. Like, what? Yeah, I've come right around on it. Do you know what I mean?" But it's always taken them like 50 or 60 hours to realize that. Like by that point, it's too late. They look back and they're like, "What have I done?" And it's just so funny because people are putting like 10 to 15 hours into it. They're like
after 30 hours, and I didn't really fully like manage to get into the meat and bones of the game. And for me, 30 hours before you get to the meat and bones is too many hours. That's like, you know, 10 to 20 is fine, but
some early journo friends were like, I can't explain. I don't know why I can't stop myself playing Starfield. Like it was just like quite Moorish for a lot of people, but I didn't fall for that. I'm like, no, and I honestly, Adam L's like bringing it up a little bit, but like I feel a bit bad for Nathan because I know this was a game that he was genuinely excited about. And in those early hours, I can see how people would get excited about it. But guess what? We're getting a Fallout TV show. I doubt we'll be getting a Starfield TV show within the next 10 years. Like, would be my best guess. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, look, I'm going to stick up for a little bit. It's not a bad game. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as a game. The story was really good. I enjoyed that bit. There were also some other really good elements that I enjoyed as well. My biggest issue with it is that the marketing around the game, they marketed a game, and that's not what the game was. They marketed the game as an exploration, an open world, and
there was no exploration.
It is simply not an exploration game. It is Fallout in space. It follows that pattern. The new game plus, the way they've handled that, is sensational. That is truly that is one of the best new game plus implementations I've ever seen. And there was some genuinely jaw-dropping moments towards the back end of the quest, the main quest, the single player campaign, whatever you want to call it. But if they'd have marketed it as that, Fallout in space, it would have been great. But they oversold it so badly, and that's why I had to give it a 3 out of 5, because exploring is worthless. Once you've explored 5 planets and you've been to the same robot factory, literally brick by brick, it's the same robot factory on like planets that are millions of light years away, that, by the way, you can't actually favorite planets, so you don't know where you've been. That's also really annoying. The game they promised wasn't the game that was delivered. That's its biggest issue. And I understand why they did that, because they wanted to get people to buy it. But I think we're seeing the results of that now. I put 70 hours into it, and it's a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I don't necessarily regret
70
doing
hours? Or...
No, I don't think so. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the game, yeah. But just for context, I've put 70 hours into Football Manager 2024. And that's been out for like a month.
And that is only loading screens.
And that is literally an admin
the graphics
simulator.
Are better on that than Starfield. You know.
And that's a point. In the Fallout TV show, do you reckon we're going to get some loading screens between scenes?
I reckon you might see a Pit Boy, like a load bar
when
on
she
that,
comes
maybe.
out,
Probably, yeah.
She comes out of the vault, loading screen, and now she's like... Now she's just on
with like a little
outside.
gameplay tip at the bottom.
Yeah.
A mini map.
Yeah. But I think one of the reasons why they've done this is if we go to the Steam page, 60% of the reviews in the last 30 days were positive. Only 60%. So it's now changed from
mixed.
I think before it was mostly positive to it's now mixed. Which is
bad look.
Yeah, it's a bad look for Bethesda. Only 69% of 81,000 reviews are positive. Yeah. Thanks, Aaron. But yeah, only 60% in the last 30 days were positive. That's not a good look.
I just
all these metrics are a bit weird anyway. Like once you start diving, like anything can look bad once you dig deep.
Yeah, but Steam as a platform, I think a lot of people put emphasis on these reviews and what games they want to buy. And I think Bethesda have looked at this and go, "Oh, we need to start responding to something."
What is it on that?
I just think they took a huge swing, and you
can't trust journalists.
They kind of missed, like, and now they didn't completely miss. They sort of like scraped the ball, and now they're trying to like say if you don't enjoy it, it's because you don't get it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's
That's
like,
what they're
oh,
saying.
the joke's
yeah.
not funny. Nah, you just don't get it. Like, it's
Yeah,
the joke,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't find the joke funny. Like, I'm allowed to not find
No,
the
but
joke
let me
funny.
explain it to you, Matt. Let me explain why
Yeah.
it's funny.
It's kind of akin to like having to explain a joke, and
Yeah.
the moment you have to
here's
explain the
why
joke,
it's
you
enjoyable.
failed.
Yeah, here's why you're actually having a good time. You might not know it, but you're having a great time. And here's why.
Yeah,
So
Adam's
on.
slightly harsh. Aaron would have given it a 5. Come on.
No way.
on.
That's
Come on.
rubbish. And in the lead up to release, I was totally honest on this podcast. I said it's doing nothing for me, and 2 max out of 5 is what I would have given it if you want to know.
Yeah.
Which is what I gave Fallout 76 for another website, which I will not name because I just looked that up as well. But
Interesting.
Starfield on Metacritic has 83, but the user score is 7 out of 10. So there is like a
Right.
difference between how much journalists enjoy. And I'll be honest,
That
like,
sort of
name-
matches though. 69%. If we're talking, that's 7
yeah.
out of 10, right?
You
That's
made a
fine.
middle of the road game. Like,
Nick, naming no names, I saw some egregious like headlines when the Starfield reviews came out.
5
like,
out of 5s.
the
Yeah.
best thing
Yeah,
Bethesda's ever
yeah.
made, and I was
Yeah.
like, right, you need to like step back here. All right,
It's the best RPG like experience overall, in my opinion.
what that
the way
Bethesda's
that-
made, or
They've expanded on what they've done before, and they've done it well. But my biggest issue was that they promised a game that wasn't here. So in terms of, I had to during my review process, I had to sort of step back and think, okay, am I reviewing this game for what it is, or am I reviewing this game for what I expected it to be and what they told everyone it would be? And I
It's a
chose the
bit-
latter because that's what you buy the game on. You buy the game on how it's sold to
I've
you.
always thought it's a bit of column A and it's a bit of column B, and as long
That's
as you're
true.
honest with that in the review, like here's what they said it was, here's what it actually is.
Yes.
And I don't think this is just my personal preference, like because like you said, people are going in on the marketing and the promises that Bethesda's made. I don't think it's unfair to knock them if they have been a bit disingenuous in the lead up.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying take a point off or whatever, but like bring it up in the review 100%. So
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So just to explain myself a little bit there, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it more than Fallout 4. Really enjoyed a lot of things about it, but the loading screens
and
egregious.
And look, and the not being able to save planets thing, which is like still unbelievable to me.
Like I had to manually write down the names of planets that I wanted to go back to.
I think
You know,
for
to
me,
be able to
it
find
was
were
like
awful as well.
Oh yeah,
What maps there were.
no city map.
they really missed out on all of the. They missed out on a few fundamentals, like being able to save planets and like you know, knowing where you've been and tagging things. Like couldn't do that. But for me, I think a big part of it was they just completely skipped over the wow factor. Like anything that could have been a wow factor, like water physics, they just completely skipped over, and they were like, "We don't need that. Move on." Because it's
Can't
not
drive
important.
vehicles,
But
Matt.
it's like, yeah, you not being able to drive vehicles. Do you imagine the fun you could have on a motorbike, like on a desert planet, with nothing on it apart from hills?
Do you know why they didn't do that though? It's because the planets end. Like
no,
do you
I
know what I mean?
know,
They
I
don't want
know.
you to get in that far.
I know, but like that's that's like it. That's what's disingenuous about it. Like they sold it as all these planets, but the reason you can't drive vehicles around is because you would much quicker discover that you can't explore the whole planet. Like,
Yeah,
and that's a problem. That's why you can't fly your ship around the planets. Is because, well, probably not the only reason why. There's probably like an actual, developer reason why as well, like with how the planets load and stuff. But that's a big part of the reason why you can't fly around that area is because they don't want you to find that out straight away.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
and that
you
for
wouldn't
me is
want
just-
to. Once you've done that journey once and discovered there are actually there's nothing around here. I've been driving for 20 minutes. There's nothing here. You wouldn't ever want to do that again. I think that's.
Or it's just the same planet but a different color. Like this time it's snow, but it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same layout. Or but like there was all these things that could have been massive wow factors. That I just felt they completely skipped over because they just didn't see them as important. And
Do you know what I think their wow
That
factor was,
bothered me.
Matt. Sorry to interrupt. Is
What?
because the one thing they didn't tell people were the powers in the game.
That
Like,
was
Yeah.
we
feel like-
weren't allowed to talk about that in the review. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they were really hoping that when people discovered the powers, that would be when the full magic of Starfield like unlocked, and that combined with how it handles the end game, which in fairness is really cool. When I was hearing people like 2 weeks after the game came out, they're like, "Yeah, I've completed it 10 times." I'm like, "What the hell is happening?" Like, and then when I found out what was happening, I was like, "Oh, okay." It's like when people say they finished Near Automata or Automata like 5
Yeah.
times. It's like,
Yeah, when I was seeing, oh yeah, I completed it and the third time I completed it, everyone in Constellation was like a pot plant. I was like, okay, that's cool. It's like you're going through different universes and stuff, but
for
it's
me,
still the same game. It's
yeah, you've still played the same game, and then it's like, oh, look, now we're planting the plants. Like, who cares? Like, who actually really cares about that? I'd rather have a good journey to that point.
So much that he's getting in on those Steam reviews and commenting directly himself.
It's
yeah.
It's
I
just,
think the other one of his biggest issues I found was that you could tell this game was in development for a long time because a lot of some of the assets, there was a big discrepancy in the quality of the assets. So on some planets it looked amazing, but then, for example, the waterfall in New Atlantis, which is the biggest city that Bethesda has ever made, that was probably one of the worst waterfalls I've ever seen in a game because they obviously made that first, and then they just didn't have time to update it. Like some of the rock,
yeah, because it's like, oh, it's not important, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like
and
that's,
there was
that's what I got from the game. It was that sort of attitude.
But it's either that it doesn't matter, or like Nathan's saying, they developed it so long ago that no one's remembered to go back and update it because it was so long ago that asset was created. Like, this is just a Starfield.
And also, if New Atlantis, if New Atlantis was the biggest city they've ever made, then they haven't made any cities that are very big because it's not that big.
That's true. Yeah, they haven't. Yeah,
like that's a terrible selling point because
it's still got
tiny.
load screens. You get on that train, right, and then you're off to
another loading screen.
You can't walk around it fully. It's just two. It's basically two small towns with a loading screen in the middle, like that whole.
There's an underground bit that I discovered quite a long way into the game. Actually, quite embarrassingly late into the game that I discovered it was there. But
old Atlantis.
Yeah. So. Yeah, if you're here, as Aaron said, we are dissecting Starfield because Bethesda are responding to reviews. Adam L says, Matt able to decipher a development team's attitude by the design of a single waterfall, and I can't disagree. You are spot on. There you go, Matt. Not for the first time. The thing that worried me recently, I think Todd Howard said it recently, is that they were saying it took them a while to find the fun in Starfield.
But
and I was like, if you're making a game and you're trying to find the fun, at what point do you go, what are we doing?
I've heard this. It happens quite a lot in game development, though. Like, but it doesn't usually reach like as far along as like Starfield does. Like, I feel like Todd Howard was still trying to find the fun like a day before it released. But like most people, they'll put together like a pitch document together. Like, oh, I don't know, I've got a game about a dog who can fly. Then they'll try that and they'll be like, is it fun? Be like, well, let's find the fun. Let's tweak some things. But yeah, with this, I feel like they never find the fun. At least people have had fun with it. And Nathan, you said you've enjoyed it, but for me, it was just like a complete chore. Like doing anything in this game.
They just needed to sell it as an epic space adventure story game.
Yeah.
Like that's all they needed to do, and it would have been probably the same amount of popular. But it's like they sold it on this thing that just doesn't really exist in the game. It might technically like let you do this and that, but it doesn't really exist in the game. Like, so the bit that they were selling was the emptiest, most hollow part of the game. Whereas, it's like they didn't realize what the heart of the game was. Like, and I find a lot of people sell things on that. They don't really realize what the heart of the game is, and then they either ruin the game, like through updates, like take Call of Duty or something like that, and then or they completely just miss the point. And it's like there is a heart to Starfield 100%, but it's not in the fact that you can explore, it's in the story. Like so sell it that way.
What I was really excited for is the gameplay when I'm in my ship. What can I do in my ship? And the answer is nothing.
Yeah, I tried to
That's the
actively
issue.
avoid going in my ship at points. Like there's
Yeah,
times
yeah,
when you
there's
just
no
jump
point.
straight to your
You just
destination.
run up and down
There's
it.
no point.
It's a ladder. That was my ship experience. Was
and
going
a
up and down
loading
the
screen
ladder.
in between.
Yeah,
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 It's
pretty
like-
much.
I'm trying to explain the loading screen in the review was like a paragraph. Like this happens, then this happens, then this happens, but then this happens, then you have to. There's another one, then there's another one, then you try this, and then you load, and try and make that readable. Thanks, Shabana, if you watch it. Try and make that readable.
Adam Mel's in the chat. He says, "If I wanted to find the fun, I'd rather go and play the spiritual 2023 game of the year, the Lord of the Rings
The
Gollum."
spiritual game of the year. What does that
Spiritual,
mean?
okay.
What does that
Yeah.
mean? Okay. On that note, then,
Oh,
should we
yeah,
talk
there you
about?
go.
Should we talk about? Thanks, Adam Mel, for obviously Adam Mel's given us the old nudge. Move on, guys.
We get it. Starfield. Oh,
yeah.
Starfield bad.
So soon we'll be getting Game of the Year chat. I believe the Game of the Year or Game Awards are like 6th of December, 7th of December.
7th, I want to say.
Yeah, which when we'll get the Baldur's Gate 3 Xbox release date as well, which I'm excited for.
Potentially. And we'll probably get the official confirmation of the Beyond Good and Evil 20th anniversary edition, which keeps leaking.
Yeah.
I'm excited
But
for
so
that.
Game of the Year chat is about. I think there's a bit going on internally with the team, getting our scores in. Yeah, a little bit going on. I think I've been getting a few messages about it. So we are going to put together something for Game of the Year. But I just wanted to get sort of initial conversations moving. What games are in with the shout and what games definitely aren't. Let's go. Let's chuck some titles in the hat.
So I think you brought up Baldur's Gate 3. I know you and Scott did a stream, but not a lot of people on this team have had the time to dive into Baldur's Gate 3. So I think before we dive into that, it's kind of like there's an argument to say, is it anyone's type of game anyway? I can see a universe where if I did have time, I'd really enjoy it a lot. And obviously we do a lot of story coverage around it because it's such a big deal. So we know a lot about Baldur's Gate 3. But in terms of actually like hands-on, like I'll just say if you're expecting a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 opinions from anyone at Mirror Gaming, you'll probably be disappointed.
Yeah, and even though it's not my bag, I can still appreciate how good a game it is. So that's not to say that we're not saying it's a good game. It's just that we haven't got anyone on the team who's actually like Baldur's Gate 3 stan, playing it every day or whatever. Although there's a lot of those people around.
The bassist in my band, a little bit of inside baseball, like he only ever used to play like Skyrim and Sea of Thieves, funnily enough. Like he's really particular about the games, but he's already put like 200 hours into Baldur's Gate 3. Like I can invite him on the podcast. 200 hours, yeah. He's not finished his first playthrough yet either.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
There's
We've
no
got
doubting it's definitely a good game.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, we've got some comments. We've got Adam L. Baldur's Gate 3 will be the clear winner whether or not it deserves it because of the drama around Starfield. Baldur's Gate 3. Interesting.
What drama? Starfield doesn't even come into the conversation. That's the drama.
Yeah, that's not. That's like I'm trying to think of a football.
That's like Dominic Blizzard going up against whoever the top scorer is right now in the Premier League.
Is that the Bristol? Is that the Bristol City striker?
He used to play for Bristol Rovers.
Oh, you're Rovers, are you? Sorry.
Of the two, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
it's like Joey Barton saying that they're a better manager than Pep Guardiola. There we go. There's your reference there. We've got Alex Birdsall in the chat. Thanks so much for watching, Alex. He says, I've got 100 hours in Baldur's Gate 3. Plenty of opinions here. Wow, there we go. 100 hours in the chat, 200 hours in your band.
Nobody like puts in like 10 hours into Baldur's Gate 3. Do you know what I mean? You're in.
Yeah, it's like
you're
you're either in or you're not. That's a sign of like a really good game. I mean, it's definitely not my cup of tea, like in terms of like you were saying, Aaron, like it's not my sort of game. But again, like Nathan was saying, I can appreciate it. It's clearly an incredible game and they've done an incredible job. So
it's just like what an achievement that a game exists that can support that amount of gameplay and people not getting bored. Like this is a narrative heavy, RPG that shapes itself around your different decisions. I will play Baldur's Gate 3 one day. I've tried running it on Steam Deck. It's not quite there yet for me, but as soon as they optimize it a bit better, I can see like that's going to be really dangerous. So yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, unfortunately, like I don't want to jump the gun here. It probably won't appear on our list, but that's not to say we don't appreciate it.
Yeah, and also I
still think it's probably the winner.
Oh, at the
I still
official Game Awards, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also want to say that because of the type of game it was, I've only played it for an hour and a half on a stream. And when you are streaming, you want to show people as much as possible. So maybe I wasn't playing it in the way it's intended, where you sort of sit back and enjoy it and take it slow and really think about decisions. It was sort of a much more faster paced stream. You know, we're trying to get through as much as possible. Maybe that wasn't the best way of doing it. Maybe, you know, Scott was like messing about with his character and like he was like talking to people and like getting us involved in stuff that we didn't need to get involved in. So yeah,
Sounds like you don't have a problem with the game, but the way Scott played the game with you.
If you want to read it that way, Matt, then but yeah, I'm sure I'll play it as well. Adam, anyone who enjoys D&D will rate it as flawless, and a lot of people like D&D due to
I think that's the thing. I don't.
Yeah.
I've never stepped foot into the D&D world, so I'd be completely unqualified to say if it's good or not. But
this year with Chris,
still haven't watched it. I need to watch it.
Surprisingly
it was surprisingly like more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. But definitely like has a very distinct tone to it. Which is enjoyable and was entertaining, but I don't have the lore of that like world or anything like that. So
cool. So Aaron, top 3 for you?
So my people are going to laugh at me, and people do laugh at me on the team, but I think Star Wars Jedi Survivor is a flawless sequel. Like Adam L used the term flawless there, and like I don't think Scott or Jasmine have played the game. I don't know if Star Wars is their thing, but I have such a fraught relationship with Star Wars at the moment. Like I watch it all or most of it. I didn't finish Andor, even though I heard it gets pretty good. But that game for me was kind of like, this is what Star Wars should be. Like we're going on adventures, we're going on a quest. It's free of the baggage of the Skywalker saga almost entirely. You're just this one dude, and the combat was great. The exploration was amazing. The planets, rather than do the Starfield thing of here's 100 planets, it was here's 6 planets. We know that doesn't sound like a lot, but guess what? You're going to get to know these planets like the back of your hand, and they're going to slowly open themselves up to you in a way that is satisfying and appealing. And like it's the sequel perfected in my mind, and for that reason alone, like it's probably sitting, if not at the top, close to the top. So Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Then you got to give a shout out to a game that I know I think we're all appreciating at the moment, Matt in a different way, but Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I know Scott's really enjoying that game as well. I think I've only put in like 60 hours, to be honest, on my current save. Still not done everything in that game. But you know, Zelda, Nintendo, they did it again. They did the impossible. They made one of the greatest games of all time. Then they made another one of the greatest games of all time. So well done to you. And then if I had to pick a third one, I can't remember my list exactly, but I'd probably say the Resident Evil 4 remake. Like it's, again, there's a controversy. Should it be included? Like I know that's coming up with Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, but for me, it does enough different, and it's just so good, man. Action horror at its finest. So those are my 3 at the moment.
Matt, do you disagree with any of
that? Well, I've played Star Wars Jedi Survivor a little bit. I didn't enjoy it in that same way, but then
that's fair.
I'm not. I can't say that I put enough time.
Are you a Trekkie or a Star Wars?
No. I mean, I've never housed with any particular side, to be honest.
Either faction.
I watched Star Trek growing up, and I watched Star Wars growing up, and
fair.
I don't understand why people compare them, because there's nothing similar about them.
They both got star in the title.
Yeah, star in the title, and they're set loosely in space.
Nobody ever mentioned Stargate. Come on now.
Yeah,
Stargate
I mean, now
what about Battlestar Galactica, you know?
Stargate and
they're weirdos. They are.
Farscape.
Farscape.
But I don't think for me it would be on my top 3. I mean, I've got limited like so for example, I haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet. I haven't played there's a lot of games I haven't played yet, so it's hard to say like what I would consider to be in the top. But judging from my recent experience, I've not played Tears of the Kingdom, but I have bought a Switch and I've been playing Breath of the Wild, and judging off of that, I would say Tears of the Kingdom would be probably top of my list. because I've purposely not played it. Like I've purposely kept away from it now and chose Breath of the Wild so that I can move into. So I've got something else to move into after finishing it. And the other one I can say is I haven't played Mario RPG, but Mario Wonder I've played, and
Yeah.
I
We're
think
getting loads of love hearts. So
it's
thank you for
phenomenal.
everyone who's dropping a love heart at the moment on the chat. I'm seeing love hearts as
I
Matt's
saw that as
talking.
well.
There's like
So
love
I
hearts coming up. So
I could
thank you
probably
for-
only give you 2 solid answers.
Where's The
and-
Last of Us Part
Well,
1,
actually,
Matt?
part 1. Well, I guess I only played it like this year, so
yeah.
But I would probably say for me, Tears of the Kingdom would be top, and then Mario Wonder, and then a loose third. But I haven't put enough time into any one game to be able to really probably Alan Wake 2. For me, but then I don't know because I feel like in my heart it's gonna be Spider-Man 2 in that third spot, but I've not played it. So
I mean, interesting that Aaron didn't mention Alan Wake 2 because you love that game.
So this was a point of controversy that Scott was ribbing me for, but I gave Alan Wake 2 a 4 out of 5 instead of, as Adam L likes to put on it, a 5, which apparently I give everything, because Alan Wake 2 I respect a lot. I love that team. I love the game, but it's just from a gameplay perspective, I can see what needs to be improved. Do you know what I mean? I can't do that with Star Wars. I can't do that with Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
But the gunplay in Alan Wake 2 is sloppy. The save system doesn't really make sense because it auto saves at any point anyway. But having said that, good on Remedy for making a game that is unabashedly their vision. Epic said, we made this money with Fortnite. We're going to give it to a team. We were going to give it to Remedy. And Remedy said, thank you, Fortnite, because we're going to make Alan Wake 2. And I'm so glad it exists.
Nice.
Broke my heart that I couldn't give it a 5.
Yeah. Jack's in the chat. Hello. Then we can
We're
move on.
responding, Jack.
There you go.
Responding to your hearts.
Thank you so much for watching, Jack. I really appreciate it. Was the gunplay bad on purpose? Is that part of it?
This is another argument, but I would say Resident Evil 4 doesn't have bad gunplay.
Yeah.
And it has better
fair.
enemy variety than Alan Wake 2, which Alan Wake 2 gets. The thing is, Alan Wake 2 puts story, and I'm a story game guy. I love people who always say, like, story doesn't matter in games or whatever. I'm like, why are you playing then, if not for the story? I guess you could say because you enjoy the gameplay. But in terms of, like, all the games there, with the exception of Mario and maybe Zelda I push, they are story-driven games. The reason you play them is to see what happens at the end. Alan Wake 2 puts story above everything else, and I love it for that. But the actual act of, if I could just watch Alan Wake 2 as a movie, I'd probably enjoy it a bit more than I would.
Yeah, that's what I got from playing the first one. Was like, oh, I really love this as a movie, like, because it felt like you were playing a movie. Essentially,
it's a writer's game. They both are.
Yeah.
Who about you, Nathan? Go on.
I mean, I
Starfield,
would have to say
number 1, 2, and 3.
Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win it.
This lot, yeah.
It's absolutely going to be them. I don't know. It's difficult because I've been putting myself off Tears of the Kingdom for a while, and I haven't got around to playing it. I really need to start playing it. I've actually got it installed on my Switch, and I haven't started playing it yet, so I need to do that. Give me a few weeks. Give me a few weeks.
Thomas Lynch has put his personal game of the year.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay.
And so's Adam L, I think.
Adam L. Yeah, go on then. Adam L. Baldur's Gate 3, number 1. 2, Tears of the Kingdom. 3, Hi-Fi Rush.
Which is a Jasmine favourite.
Yep. Tom Lynch, thanks so much for watching, Tom. Hi-Fi Rush, Spidey 2, Armored Core 6 from Software. Interesting.
Yeah, people forget that Armored Core 6 came out this year. It was a perfectly...
Yeah.
Like, it was like a solid 8 out of 10, I'd say. I know we don't review out of 10, but it's not like, breaking new ground, but it was perfectly fine.
Yeah. Jack, I just want to mention, yes, we did run a PS5 giveaway. The winner has been drawn and contacted as per the terms and conditions. So if you haven't heard anything,
announcement video.
If you haven't heard anything, sorry to let you down, Jack. But yeah, the winner's been drawn. So if you haven't heard anything, then sorry. But we might be running more giveaways.
Yeah, keep an eye on TikTok because I'll be posting like a proper video, announcing who the winner is, and then letting you know sort of like what we got planned loosely for the future. So there's loads more giveaways we're hoping to do.
Yeah.
you
Lewis,
go.
EAFC 24 before tile update 1, EAFC before tile update 2, EAFC before tile update 5 is his top 3. Can't disagree with that, Lewis. That's a pretty good list.
Solid list.
Pretty good list. I just, before we go, Matt, tell me more about when I mean, it's almost a year ago now that we first all met as a 3 at a press event, and we played God of War, and you just weren't having it. You were like,
Matt
fancy
wasn't buying
games,
it.
Yeah.
not buying it, don't like fancy games, don't like things that aren't real. And then now, fast forward 12 months later, you're playing Breath of the Wild on a Nintendo Switch a few hours a night. Talk to me. This has blown my mind. Tell me what's happened here.
Well, look, I fully intended on playing Mario
Okay.
first.
Okay.
And it was basically, I bought I've been on the edge about whether or not to buy a Switch, like, for ages. And I thought now is the perfect time, 7 years after it's come out. It's just the perfect time.
A perfect, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, within the first 10 hours of owning it, I was like, this is the best decision I've ever made. This is honest. This is the best console I've ever owned. This is the best decision I've ever made. I mean, I am married and I do have a child, so though that is the caveat, not that it's better than my wife and child, but yeah, like, it's I can't believe it's taken me this long to buy one, and I bought Breath of the Wild at the same time when I bought it because it was cheaper. But I was gonna, like, buy Mario Wonder and like download it and play it, which I still is just sat there I haven't touched it, and I just love. Do you know, I did like Lord of the Rings when I was growing up, and I just get this massive sense of questing, like, just this whole. It feels very much like a quest, but it feels so unforced and like it's not. There's nothing. It just feels very natural. Like everywhere you go, everything you explore, it feels very free, very open. Like there's a million different ways to do things. You got the puzzle solving. I quite like the lateral thinking puzzles in the shrines. I quite like, and just in general, like I've only just got myself a horse, and I tell you what, I've got like. The dude said at the stable I could have 5 horses, and I tell you how many I've got exactly is 5. Like, immediately went and caught wild horses.
Have you found the gold horse yet?
Not yet, no. But I'm looking. I'm like, I like the color of that one, and I just go horse hunting. Like, and I love the fact that you have to really try to lure them and catch them off guard, and it's just like. Just elements like that. That's the wow factor I'm talking about. The fact that you can do that, and that's in the game, and the fact that you can do things in so many different ways. And also, on top of all of this epicness, it's just very calm. And I love that. Like, because I don't want to always sit down and be like, you know, be in a battle royale game. Oh, I should have trolled and said Modern Warfare 3 is going to win Game of the Year. But
best audio.
Yeah, like, it's just can't believe that I mean, I feel like it's come at the right time in my life, because I don't think I would have played it for 10 minutes and be like, nah, like if I played it like 5 years ago or something, or you know. But it's come at the right time where I'm looking to sit on my sofa and just relax for a bit. I can't find anything to watch on TV. There's no films out, because I love watching films in the evening. But there's this other thing that I've got where I can just sit down and just play, and it's just calm. And that is a point in my life where I really need that on a regular basis. So yeah, so I'm playing it at the moment, and I'm fully excited about playing Tears of the Kingdom now that I've started on that journey. And Yeah, the Switch is. I understand why it's an elite console.
Amazing. We've worn him down, Aaron. We've worn him down.
I mean, essentially,
One
yeah,
of us.
that's what's
One
happened.
of us. One of us.
Why
Just
resist
before you go on, Aaron,
Switch?
sorry, Jack, that is not us. If you've received a message from anyone else other than at the Mirror Gaming on TikTok, it is not us. Just to clarify, Aaron, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, it's funny that Matt should bring up the horse thing because, like, a friend of mine went through the entire game not having caught one horse because he just somehow missed the stable, which must have been an absolute nightmare. Like, he beat Ganon and everything, and I was like, "You absolute mentalist." And then, like, on the subject of the Switch being the greatest console, like, it's the greatest console. Well, why resist it? Do you know what I mean? I'm yet to meet the person that buys a Switch and regrets it.
Yeah, well,
So,
That's true.
sorry,
go.
I'm not about to ruin the streak.
there we go. That's what I like to hear. Don't apologize.
Do you exclusively use it in handheld mode, or have you connected it to your,
Nah,
to your TV? Or?
I'm more TV, like sitting on the sofa, like
okay.
TV. So
Okay,
I think
interesting.
my next purchase is going to be a Pro controller because I'm currently using the.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, you've got to get the Pro
Yeah,
controller.
yeah,
yeah,
Reduce
yeah,
on
yeah,
that
yeah.
split. Yeah.
I'll do that. But then like just the option of things like being able to play. I know like the certain games are available on other consoles, but it just feels right on this console. Like I never got round to playing It Takes Two, and I'm currently basically trying to get my wife to like join in, and so that we can play it like together. And the fact that there's like so many different just like really chilled, laid back, silly, funny party games, like just things like that, like just just offers so much variety that I didn't really realize, and a lot of my childhood nostalgia I now realize was in Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until recently.
Yeah.
Adam L says maybe one day Matt will get around to playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. But on that subject, I'll say I tried starting Witcher 3 like multiple times on PlayStation, never clicked. As soon as I bought it up purchased it on Switch, absolutely loved it. Dream.
Same for me. Elden Ring on the Steam Deck.
Yeah. You got to
Just
get
being able to pick it up, just being able to pick it up and play it like on the Switch, and again with Breath of the Wild, playing that like for 2 hours in bed, like just before bed or whatever, like getting some hours and getting something done. Like it's great. It's so
yeah.
great.
I mean, the way I think about it is like I'm like, right, I've got to go next time I play it. I've got to go and get this thing done. Once I've done that thing, I can put it down then for the next bit. And I love how it feels so open, but there's like definitely things in front of you that you need to do to progress. It's like that bit of the map I can't see at the moment, so I need to make sure I find the tower first and go and like, and it's just those things. I need to get these shrines so that I can go. I like how there's so many things to do and they're all like in their own little pockets as well, but it doesn't feel like they are. It feels all very like open. It's great. It's honest. So excited for Tears of the Kingdom, but I think I'm going to be on Breath of the Wild for a while.
Yeah, I think so as well. Alex said, sold my Switch after about 10 months. Sorry to say. Okay. Alex, what did you play in there? Be interested
what was going on?
Yeah. I think what the interesting thing, Matt, that I want to talk to you about is that you've been playing games like NBA and Call of Duty, games that we've often described as like being almost like rushed or not polished or like unfinished in some circumstances. Nintendo and the Zelda franchise are one of them games. The polish on them, every single thing works as intended. Every single little function and feature has been tested and tested and tested to the nth degree. Like the attention to detail, the time that they've obviously taken on making sure this game is perfect, and the scale of it, that's got to be quite a departure from what you've experienced recently.
Yeah. I mean, like take Starfield exploration game and then take Zelda at the exploration in Zelda, and it's like it's night and day. One's actually you're actually exploring stuff, and the other one you're just not really able to, and that's based on one map. Like it's not based on planets. Like that's what's crazy. And I think it never really dawned on me that the fact that Nintendo have just been doing their own thing all this time while there's all these arguments going on over here about whether this
They're very much
console's
like
better or
that
that
Nintendo,
console's better.
yeah,
And they've
yeah.
just been like, you know what, we're staying out of that. It's just doing our thing. And they've never tried to compete directly with those types of consoles. And I think that is why well, as simple as it is, that's why they've been able to be as successful as they have, because they can put time, energy, and love and care into what they put out into the world, because it's only them doing it.
Yeah,
they're not racing against anyone else.
Yeah,
and that is a weirdly unique position to be in this day and age.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely. Jack asks who's the real winner. We will announce the winner tomorrow, but if you haven't been contacted, you aren't the winner. Just want to confirm that with you. We'll be announcing the winner tomorrow on our TikTok, I believe, Matt, because Matt handles our TikTok, so I'm sure we'll be announcing the winner tomorrow. But I think that's it for today. We've covered quite a lot. Any final thoughts, guys?
No Breath of the Wild, no Elden Ring. I'll leave you with that final thought.
I don't understand the thought, if I'm honest.
What? So From Software wouldn't have started with Elden Ring if Breath of the Wild wasn't as
100%.
successful?
From what little I know about Elden Ring, that whole here's a map, go any direction you want, sort of do it.
It's no surprise that I love both. Is it?
Well, as the only one who's probably played both, do you disagree? Feel free to. I just like.
I've never thought about that. That's very interesting. I've never really thought about comparing those two games. Obviously, because the one's a lot darker. Elden Ring's a lot darker, right? But you've got when you think about it now, you've got the beginning bit in Elden Ring, and then you go to the main section. That's very similar to the sort of plateau situation you get in Zelda. So the more I'm thinking about it, you might be right there, Aaron. That's good. And then you got the dungeons as well.
There you go.
And you've got the divine beasts aren't the same. You've got obviously the different like parts of the kingdom and stuff, and like the different kings and queens and all that sort of stuff. But
I don't think From Software would have ever strained from that semi-linear Bloodborne, Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Were it not for they looked at Breath of the Wild and were like, oh crap, let's put our thing in that sort of environment.
Yeah. Lewis says, Jack, that page is a scam, so don't give them any info. Thanks, Lewis. Really appreciate that, man. Thanks for trying, because I've never heard of that page, so thanks for chiming in. But thank you so much, everyone who's watching. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. Fridge Detective, really appreciate it. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on the new Fallout TV show. And Aaron, thank you so much for joining us as well. The GCCOTY. Do you want to give that some explanation?
Well, my job title here at Mirror Gaming is Gaming Content Creator. So, am I the Gaming Content Creator of the Year? I'll let the people decide. That's all
we'll
say.
Find out at the Game Awards on the 7th of December.
Jeff,
vote for
say
Aaron.
my name.
Vote for Aaron. Have you got your placards yet and put in like vote for Aaron?
No, I need to though. He's not contacted me yet. I'm ticking on. Yeah.
I'm going to be very disappointed when I win.
Rich Detective of the Year.
And on that note, thank you so much, everyone watching. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next Wednesday on the Mirror Game Walkthrough. We'll be chatting the latest in gaming news. But after that, myself and Matt, and potentially another special guest, will be streaming Warzone Urzikstan, the new Warzone. I'm not going to call it Warzone 3.0. They're not going to call it that.
Let's just go. I think we should just go back to Warzone and call it. We're calling it Warzone. It's not Warzone 2. It's not Warzone.
It's the new Warzone.
It's just Warzone, as it should have been a year ago. Yeah. Hopefully.
We'll be streaming that when it comes out. So if you want to watch that, tune into us on Wednesday for the walkthrough, and then you can tune into us again for the playthrough of Urzikstan, because we'll be playing that as soon as it comes out. But that's all for us today. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.